All right, guys, I found an interesting video and interesting topic, guys. Why everyone hates American tourists. Look, guys, hey, don't y'all lie in the comments section. You know what I'm saying? Definitely my SA people. If you came across some American tourists that you didn't like, I want to know the story. Tell me the story in the description and in the comment section. I want to know what happened. Like, what was going on? Why what made you hate them? Or have you seen a video where just
and
American tourists
centuries
are
of accumulated.
being hold on, I didn't mean to play it. Where you seen American tourists just be like, you know what I'm saying? But let's check out this video. Let's go ahead and get right into it.
Accumulated calm. Then someone yells, "Honey, look, is that Buddha?" The volume alone could wake ancestors 6 generations deep. The monk's eye twitches. Every pigeon within a 50-meter radius takes off. That's the American tourist in Asia. Stay tuned. By the end of this video, you'll see why American confidence feels like cultural terrorism in much of Asia. You'll find out why Europe views American tourists differently and learn about the digital nomad lifestyle as well.
All right, let's get into this.
Americans know they're universally hated as tourists.
burgers is
73%
looking
believe
good.
they have a bad reputation abroad. 53% think they're seen as arrogant. Turns out, only 27% of Europeans actually agree. So Americans are over here having an anxiety attack about their reputation, while Europeans are like, yeah, they're loud, but they tip well, and they're friendly, it's fine.
Oh,
A 2025
okay.
survey
We good.
showed that 73% of Europeans have neutral or positive views of American tourists. 64% even describe them as friendly. Sure, they're loud. Sure, they expect everyone to speak English.
Please, Obama, listen to me.
But there's familiarity there, cultural overlap, shared history that doesn't involve occupation and colonization. In Europe, Americans are that annoying cousin who shows up uninvited but at least brings wine. What about
You hear
Asia?
me? We gonna bring the wine. You hear me? You hear me? Hey, at least we gonna bring the wine. You heard? But I'm actually happy. I'm actually happy to hear this because I was thinking, hey, I'm just like them. He said the Americans, we was having anxiety, feeling like we you know what I'm saying? That's me sometimes. I'm like, dang, am I doing too much? Am I being too loud? Am I, you know what I'm saying? But hey, I think we good. We good in all the hoods. You feel
That's
me?
a completely different story. In Asia, they're uninvited guests who don't know the house rules, track mud everywhere, and then complain the bathroom's weird because the toilet has a bidet function. This difference isn't really about manners, but about power. To understand how we got here, we should look at what happened when America accidentally created the tourist middle class. More on that in a
Oh.
second. But first,
What is
why
that?
does volume matter so much? Back to that temple and that American yelling about Buddha. He wasn't trying to be disrespectful, which somehow makes it worse. In the USA, volume equals confidence and friendliness. Quiet people get told to speak up like it's a personality flaw that needs immediate correction by a life coach. In Asia, that same volume feels like you're calling on spirits who ask not to be disturbed.
That's very true. That's very true, bro. I remember growing up, like being around kids, like if they're too quiet, their parents would be like, speak up, speak up. They can't hear you. You know what I'm saying? So we was always taught to be outspoken, to be like, you feel me?
Their eternal rest. 70% of Europeans think American tourists are loud. This is interesting because in Europe, people often raise their voices in public without feeling guilty. In Japan, high context communication depends on subtle, nonverbal cues and quiet voices.
Oh my God.
So American conversational volume really stands out. The worst comes up after a couple of drinks, because Americans abroad treat alcohol like it's a cultural experience instead of what it actually is. After Americans get their drinks, they're loud and drunk, which is loud but with way worse decision making. Hostels
Yeah.
across Southeast Asia have entire wings that smell like regret and cheap beer. Night markets in Bangkok have learned to stock extra ice because Western tourists treat Singha like water. Europeans and especially Brits might technically hold the crown for most obnoxious drunk tourists, but Americans are strong contenders. However, it's not just volume that separates America from
picture,
Asia
though.
in terms of culture. The internet gave Americans what I call visual literacy without comprehension. They've watched K-dramas, they've seen travel vlogs, they've memorized gestures from TikTok. They can mimic the movements but have zero idea what they mean. Imagine someone learned surgery from Grey's Anatomy and then shows up to the operating room like, I got this. I've seen all 15 seasons. So when an American claps enthusiastically before praying at a shrine because they saw someone do it in an anime once, or tries to high-five a Korean elder because we're all friends here, right? It reads as performance art titled, I learned your culture from the internet and that should be enough. Then there's tipping. In America, it's essential. Service workers rely on it because
But isn't
minimum
in some places like tipping is like frowned upon? Like you're not supposed to tip, bro. I think we tip so much in the U.S. Like if we don't leave a tip, we will feel terrible. Like we're gonna feel bad if we don't.
wage is a joke told by those who've never worked in service jobs. In Japan, tipping goes against omotenashi. This is the idea of wholehearted hospitality, which should be perfect without needing money to prove it. When
Oh,
Americans
yeah.
leave money on the table, they're not being rude. They're just telling someone their entire cultural philosophy of service needs a $20 performance bonus. But did you know you can tip on YouTube as well? Just subscribe, then press like, and comment on what tourist you think is most annoying. Another
Hey, that is a good question. What tourist y'all think is the most annoying? Is it us? Is it U.S. tourists or who is the most annoying tourist?
misconception is about food. Americans grow up believing customization is a constitutional right. No onions, extra sauce, make it vegan, but still taste like meat. Can you do half portions? Those requests are normal in America. In much of Asia, food is philosophy. You don't customize it any more than you'd edit poetry. You receive it, you respect it, and if you don't like it, that's a you problem that therapy should probably address. But none of this is really arrogance. Americans train for this behavior their whole lives, often without realizing it. Let me show you how
True, I'm
geography
telling you.
created this problem. America is massive, 3,000 miles coast to coast. You can explore every climate, from desert to rainforest. You'll see mountains, beaches, plains, and cities. You can experience 50 cultures without needing to learn a new language. Never need a passport. Never forget that the world works differently, just 10 feet
I'm telling y'all, that's why I tell y'all, bro. The U.S. is so huge, bro. We're so many different cultures, so many different landscapes and different things, bro. That y'all feel like Americans are arrogant because they don't know something about another country or something. Bro, there's so much going on within this place, bro. I'm telling y'all, there's so much going on within this place. All those pictures y'all seen is different places in the U.S., bro.
beyond your borders.
Different
For
terrain.
most Americans, foreign is 12 hours on a plane and half a paycheck in tickets. That distance breeds comfort in isolation. When you grow up with English everywhere, on signs, menus, and in chats, you start to believe the world can't be different. Other countries learn your language, watch your movies, use your currency as the global standard. When you're at the center of the map, curiosity feels more optional than essential. Education doesn't help. Just 20% of American K-12 students learn a foreign language. Most stop after 2 years of Spanish in high school, which
Dang, I feel attacked, bro. I feel attacked, fam. Oh my gosh, he's not lying. That's all I had was Spanish, dog. That's all I had was Spanish. 2 years of Spanish in high school and 2 years of Spanish in college. That's all I had, bro. And then after that, that was it. I knew it, bro. I knew Spanish for the longest, but I didn't use it that much. So then I just kind of forgot it. Like I still know bits and pieces. Or if somebody is talking Spanish, I can pick out words. But now I completely forgot it, bro. I completely forgot Spanish.
they rarely use later. The result? Only 10% of Americans speak a foreign language proficiently. Compare that to 65% of Europeans. The entire American system operates on the assumption that English is enough, and historically it has been enough. That's what
has
makes it
been, though.
dangerous. And that unintentional ignorance,
Oh, what's going
rooted
on
not
here?
in malice, but in never needing to look beyond your borders, is what makes American tourists so jarring in places where cultural literacy isn't optional. But this whole situation was actually invented 70 years ago by accident. After World War II, America was rich because its factories were still standing. As Europe rebuilt and Asia recovered from war, the United States kept on producing. By the 1950s, many Americans owned a car, a house with a white picket fence, and enjoyed 2 weeks of paid vacation. This was revolutionary, especially since most people in history worked until they died with no days off. This created something brand new, the regular person tourist, not aristocrats doing grand tours through Europe's cultural capitals, nor merchants traveling for business, just Dave from Ohio with a camera, confidence, and absolutely no preparation for the world outside his comfort zone. From 1950 to 2007, global tourist arrivals soared from 25 million to 898 million, a 3,552% increase. Americans arrived in rebuilt Japan during the 1950s with wide eyes and zero cultural literacy. They had watched movies featuring temples where everything was subtitled. In those films, everyone spoke English eventually. Standing in an actual shrine surrounded by etiquette they couldn't decode, they did what Americans do when confused. They improvised loudly. And here's where Asia's relationship with this gets complicated, in ways Europe doesn't experience. For decades, America didn't just export tourists. It exported the definition of modernity itself. American movies, American music, American language, American everything. Many Asians grew up with it. They admired it and wanted it. They also measured their country's progress against the American standard. So when an American arrives clumsy and unaware, it stings differently. They remind us how much of our world still revolves around theirs. That's why some Asians hate American tourists. But it also needs them desperately. Let me show you the numbers. In 2024, over 53 million Americans traveled overseas, spending approximately $169 billion internationally. A huge portion
53 million, y'all. I was one of those. I'm one of
landed
those.
in Asia, in hotels, street markets, temples with donation boxes conveniently labeled in English for maximum guilt-tripping efficiency. That tourist disrupting prayers at the Kyoto temple, his donation probably funded the restoration. This makes Asia's relationship with American tourists complex. It means we need their money but wish we didn't.
Oh.
But wait, there's a new generation of American tourists now. They should be better, right? This paradox isn't unique to Americans. Every empire's tourists eventually become the world's least favorite guests. In the 1800s, British grand tourists were quite unbearable. Young aristocrats wandered through Europe, expecting respect and treating locals like mere background decoration. And Chinese and Indian tourists are starting to show the same behavior. New money always travels loudly until it becomes old money and learns to whisper. Tourism shows who can afford to leave and who has to stay. Every souvenir sold, every selfie snapped, and every costly hotel room booked reminds us of global inequality. The waiter smiles when he takes your order. He's thinking about his rent. You're thinking about Instagram. For Asia, that smile carries history. The same West that once dictated what counted as progress still defines what luxury looks like. Tourists looking for authentic experiences are why authenticity was packaged and sold. Despite everything, tourists keep coming. Asia is beautiful, affordable, incredibly photogenic. For Americans, travel here feels like escape from capitalism, from chaos, from themselves and their country's problems. They come searching for peace and clarity.
I'm telling y'all, bro, that's the key word, peace. A lot of people ask me, why are you staying in there? It's like, bro, peace, a peace of mind. I can think, you feel me? I can relax. I can enjoy, you know what I'm saying, the fruits of my labor. You feel me? But here I am thinking that the internet is making the world a smaller place, that, you know what I'm saying, us Americans as tourists are learning more on the internet for us to be cringe to y'all, for us to come to y'all's country and embarrass ourselves because we are loud and we do things that we see on social media that we feel like is appropriate to do when we get to the place, which we are already misunderstanding because, bruh, I don't know, man. I'm thinking we doing good, bruh.
The irony is that they bring the noise with them. They come not as explorers claiming new land, but as fans who have studied the material for years. This new American tourist grows up on screens and algorithms instead of postcards. They don't yell for directions. They're quieter, more anxious, and sometimes painfully self-aware. They already know to remove shoes indoors. They already know not to tip in Japan. They've learned more cultural do's and don'ts than actual phrases in the local language. However, awareness can backfire. This generation fears being rude, but even more to be content. Nobody wants to end up on TikTok in a video titled "American Tourist Embarrasses Entire Country with 3 million views and counting."
Facts. Hey, I just seen some videos I want to check out with y'all, maybe sometimes this week, of Americans embarrassing themselves abroad. I have to check out these videos, bro.
So they overcorrect constantly.
We have to
They
check out
whisper
these
in
videos.
restaurants until staff can't hear their order. They bow too deeply until it becomes parody. They treat respect like performance art that requires an audience. Sometimes that hyper-awareness creates more discomfort than the old ignorance ever did. At least the loud tourists were predictable. But this generation doesn't take 2-week vacations. They take 3-month digital nomad experience.
Bruh, I feel targeted in this video, bruh. Everything he's saying, bro, I feel targeted, bro. The bilingual situation. And now the 3 months out. Oh my gosh, I feel so targeted, bro. I feel like he's talking to
experiences and 6-month remote work adventures. Europeans have the same type of nomads. They all rent Airbnbs in Bali. They order $3 smoothies and post pretty photos on Instagram. But they also push locals out of their own neighborhoods. After 2021, rental prices in Bali surged, villas reaching $2,014.
So look, y'all, this is what South Africa's talking about. I guess it's not just South Africa. This is something that's happening in a lot of other countries. I mean, look at Bali. Look at these stats on Bali, for example. Commercial property, look how much it's went up since 2022. Y'all see that? Look, it's skyrocketed, bruh. My thing is, where are America? Where is U.S. people getting this money? Do they not know the state of the economy right now? Inflation. What's going, like, how is these numbers doing this? But then if you look at U.S., if you look at the people in U.S., they would say, man, it's tough over here. How are we traveling, y'all? How are we doing this?
Per month, up from around $1,000. Digital nomads, who earn American salaries and live in low-cost areas, create what researchers call sociospatial segregation.
That's what we're gonna call it, y'all. For now on, sociospatial segregation.
That's
what we doing.
academic speak for locals can't afford cafes, charging $5 for coffee when minimum daily wage is $10. So, what began as cultural interest turns into subtle colonization, now with better Wi-Fi and smarter branding. They're driving up costs while searching for the perfect lighting for their Instagram stories. Still, they're trying. You can see it in travel vlogs spotlighting local voices, in comment sections explaining why you shouldn't film monks without permission, in small moments where curiosity finally learns to shut up and listen. But unfortunately, American tourists won't change. Why would they? The world rearranges itself around their comfort, their language, their money. Hotels print signs in English. Restaurants hire English-speaking staff. Entire economies restructure themselves to accommodate American expectations. The only real question is whether we'll learn anything from them before Indian tourists take over.
Look, man, comment down below y'all thoughts, man. I guess it's not just South Africa. We having that effect all over the world, bro. Bali, y'all seen the numbers on Bali is insane. This video I think is mostly focused on Asia, which I need to check us out, bro. Like I said, I want to react to Americans abroad. I want to see us embarrass ourselves. I want to see those clips, bro. I gotta see those clips. I'm trying to think of an embarrassing moment. I'm gonna think of it, and then I'm gonna come out with a video talking about my most embarrassing moment, like my most embarrassing tourist moment here. I'm gonna think about it and I'm gonna come out with a separate video because I feel like I do have a super embarrassing moment. I just don't know right now. But look, man, comment down below y'all thoughts. You feel me? If y'all have an embarrassing moment, maybe you traveled abroad and had an embarrassing moment, let me know in the comment section below. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Stay tuned for next video. Peace.